Hello and welcome to Newsclick. Today we have with us Gauhar Raza, scientist, poet and a science activist for a very long time. We have known each other. He's a part of the Delhi Science Forum, the All India People Science Network. We have known each other for a very long time. We have worked together for a very long time and still work on the larger issues of the science movement. Gauhar, isn't it a surprise for you, for having worked for a secular science cause in the country for the last more than 35 years, that today people should be talking to you as anti-national, calling you names and so on? Doesn't it shock you and pain you?
It was completely shocking when I saw my name and my photograph on Z television with Aston saying Afzal, Premi, Gang, Mushaira, and it continued for 5 hours. So it was painful, traumatic, but I could understand that the fascist mind, when grips a country, I think that is what they do, that they don't leave any space for any thinking person.
And no belief that truth must be represented. Lies are good enough, provided they are repeated enough number of times. That seems to be the motto of Z News, at least on this issue.
Yeah, there are one or two more similar kind of, but it's a very dangerous trend. It's extremely dangerous trend because, and therefore it should be challenged. It should be challenged with full force, because when powerful medium is in your hand and you turn against a powerless citizen, I am not probably as powerless as many others who have been treated like that by various channels, then it becomes a very dangerous situation for the country itself. In my case particularly, I was shocked because I have been propagating science, I have been writing poems, I have made films, and I have never been accused of being even Muslim by anybody.
In fact, if I remember, when you went to certain areas in Delhi for education, the charge against you was that you are an atheist. And therefore, in fact, some of the fundamentalist Muslim groups did oppose you and Shabnam when you were working in that area.
Yeah, there are many stories. I don't want to go into stories of past, but yes, we have been repeatedly attacked by fundamentalist Muslims in the country, both of us. But it was shocking because if the state does something against you, it's still understandable that some part of a state is feeling vulnerable because of one act or two acts of yours. Maybe it's science communication, which the state may not like you to do. But media turning against people and powerless people is a dangerous situation, and I don't remember any other example in our country or even in Pakistan and Bangladesh.
You know, one of the things, of course, he has done is a doctored video, so one shouldn't be too surprised at what they are doing again on this.
Absolutely.
But can you tell me a little bit, tell the Newsclick audience, what was this Mushaira about, which they called Afzal Premi Gang? What is this Mushaira, and what are the kind of people who have been attending this Mushaira? Because this has been going on for more than 50 years, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this was 51st. Mushaira. Mushaira is a unique tradition which is unique to subcontinent of India. It is one of the traditions where the poet, you may call them intellectuals, you may call them whatever, they come in direct touch with the people. The other thing that I remember is Bharat Vigyan Jatha, where a large number of intellectuals within the country went and made a direct contact with people. Otherwise, it's Mushaira, which is a regular thing. This particular Mushaira is of a special importance because it was started just after independence. and it created a bridge. It is called Indo-Pak Shankar-Shad Mushaira. So it created a bridge and a cultural bridge between the two countries. And it has continued for such a long period of time. It has seen thick and thin periods and very turmoil, periods of extreme turmoil, and after that Mushairas have happened. Now, even during emergency, when a lot of protest was registered by poets of the country, individual poets were picked up by the state, right? They were imprisoned, and there are many examples, a lot of people. But Mushairas continued, and people did protest. I remember during emergency, Mushaira in Aligarh, which was a huge Mushaira, where one of the poets read this couplet saying, चिरागों को आँखों में महफूज रखना, बहुत दूर तक रात ही रात होगी. And for 15 minutes, people just shouted, jumped, and he was asked to repeat this couplet again and again because everybody understood.
Can you tell the audience, or some of them who will not understand the words, what this couplet means?
Keep the lights preserved in your eyes, because for a long period of time you are going to encounter the night or the darkness. Similarly, in Pakistan, n number of poets and great name who have protested against the state, who have written, their poetry has been sung, but never ever, you do not have one example when media has turned against them. Faiz Ahmad Faiz, jailed repeatedly. There are so many examples. Here is Habib Jalib. Habib Jalib says कि तुमसे पहले भी जो एक शख्स यहाँ तख्त नशी था, उसको भी खुदा होने का इतना ही यकीन था.
So dictatorships of different.
नहीं, सामने there was this photograph in the hall of General Yahya Khan.
Okay.
And he directed this particular couplet towards that photograph. He was jailed, but media did not turn against him. That is the difference.
So when you were talking about is shakhs, you were talking about Yahya Khan, and you was referring to Zia, who was then the...
no, Zia, there is another couplet on Zia.
Okay.
Where he names Zia. Zulmat ko Zia, Zulmat means darkness and Zia means light. Zulmat ko Zia, Sarsar is gale or tornado. Sarsar ko Saba, meaning breeze, gentle breeze. Bande ko Khuda kya likhna. Now, this is protest which is going on in Pakistan in the worst kind of condition, and people are writing. But media and people never turned against them.
So in this sense, this is
unique.
This is unique, that there should be attack on the cultural activists who are using really poetry. And to me, I've read what you have read out in those mushairas, and I'm going to ask you to speak to our audience, a couple of them. They are something which could, by no stretch of imagination, be considered anything but poetry. Of course, they are protest poetry, which is what...
It is protest poetry. I don't write love poetry.
And
I don't write.
That's a part of our tradition in any case. That's what fuels poetry.
Absolutely.
That's what fuels art. That's what fuels culture. So this is very strange. Do you think it also is the, shall we say, the complete discomfort that a certain section of the political establishment, as well as some sections of the media or allied to them, feel against culture itself? Because earlier we had the protests, what they called the Award Wapsi, which is really a protest of the cultural practitioners against intolerance. So this is another really a facet of the anti-intolerance debate, as it were. And this is not anti-nationalism that they're talking about, but it's really the tolerance is what is being fought against. And this is the part of the anti-tolerance debate, shall we say?
Absolutely, you're right. And probably one or two couplets of this particular poem, which has been attacked most, have made some people very uneasy. One of them is नफरत में जो पले बढ़े हैं, नफरत में जो खेले हैं, नफरत देखो आगे आगे उनसे क्या करवाएगी, फनकारों से पूछ रहे हो क्यों लौटाए हैं सम्मान, पूछो कितने चुप बैठे हैं, शर्म उन्हें कब आएगी. See,
Can you translate that for again?
it's very difficult to translate. Those who have been groomed
In hate.
in hate and violence, and those who have perfected the art of violence and hate, hate is going to lead them to do so many things. Now, just wait and see and watch. The other one says, why are you asking this question? It's a wrong question to ask. Why your poets and writers have returned the honors? Ask the question that how many of them have kept silent and why have they not returned it? So these things have made them very uneasy, and because media has attacked intellectuals in the country and repeatedly, and one by one they are picking up, I think the malice is much deeper, that the state doesn't have to do it. Do you realize what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say that the attack on culture need not come from
only the state. It is coming
only.
from a lot of other,
Yeah.
shall we say,
So the
allies.
penetration
of
of fascist forces, fascist thinking is much more deeper, and it has to be challenged. I think if we do not challenge, then tomorrow India may not remain a democratic country.
Well, there's one poet in Pakistan who's written that you finally are becoming like us. So we could be going down the path that Pakistan did at a time when Pakistan seems to have some hopes of returning from it, and that's really the tragedy of the subcontinent at the moment, isn't it?
Absolutely, because in Pakistan you see for a longer period of time there is democracy. I always jokingly said that democracy in Pakistan comes like commercial break and everybody keeps on waiting when the program will start. But yeah, in Pakistan it is still fragile, it's still problematic, but after a very long time, for a longer period of time, there is democracy.
Gauhar, would you like to end with any couplet that you can think of in this context? I'm asserting your poetic identity at the moment, not your scientist and engineer one. That will leave for another day.
Yes. This is a poem which I had written quite some time back, and it is addressed to a young boy, because he asked me a question after a Mushaira that why do you write a poetry which has got blood and killing and this and that? Why can't you write beautiful poetry and write about eyes and flowing hair and everything? So this is addressed to that young boy. I met him in Bangalore in a Mushaira. मैं चाहता हूँ कि पर्वत पे एक नज़्म लिखूँ, एक ऐसी नज़्म जो पहले कभी लिखी न गई. मैं चाहता हूँ कि झरनों का बांकपन लिख दूँ, ये चाहता हूँ कि कागज़ पे काले लफ्ज़ों से करूँ मैं सब्त किसी शाम का तमाम सहर. धनक के रंग से खेलूँ, लिखूँ कि कुदरत ने मेरे कलम के लिए ही रचे हैं राज ये सब. मैं चाहता हूँ किसी शाम बैठूँ फुर्सत से, वो शाम ऐसी हो जिस पर गुमा हो सुबह का. मैं तेरी जुल्फ़ों की, आँखों की, तेरे होंठों की, तेरे बदन की, तेरे पैरहन की बात करूं. कोई ख्याल ना हो, बस ख्याल हो तेरा. तेरे ख्याल में डूबी हुई हो सारी फ़ज़ा. मैं चाहता हूँ कि सर्दी की एक सुबह हो, मेरी बयास मेरे पास हो, हुलों हो कलम. मेरे करीब हो बरगद का पेड़ जो मुझसे ज़माना पहले ये सरगोशियों में कहता था, बचा के रखना ये उम्मीद और ये भोलापन. वो सारी रास की बातें मैं हूबहू लिख दूँ. मैं चाहता हूँ कि कोहरे की एक चादर हो, मैं अपनी आँखों में आंसू लिए वहाँ जाऊँ जहाँ पे छोड़ के आया था अपने बचपन को. कलम की नोक से मैं फिर उन्हें तलाश करूँ जो रिश्ते छूट गए और कभी न लौटेंगे. मैं कड़वे नीम के नीचे बनाऊं एक क्यारी, मैं नन्हे हाथों से पौधे लगाऊं फूलों के, बहार आए तो सब बांट दूं समाने में। मैं चाहता हूं मगर फुर्सते सुखन तो मिले, मैं चाहता हूं मगर तीरा शाम गम तो ढले। ये आग और खून की बारिश, ये आंसुओं की झड़ी, कदम कदम पे ये नफरत का सर बुलंद जुनूं। हकीकतें कि जो बिखरी हैं मेरे चारों तरफ, ये 4 रोज़ की मोहलत तो दें मुझे हमदम। हकीकतें कि जो बिखरी हैं मेरे चारों तरफ, ये 4 रोज़ की मोहलत तो दें मुझे हमदम। कहीं तो शम्मा जले और कहे कि फुर्सत है, लिखो वो नज़्म जो पहले कभी लिखी न गई, लिखो वो नज़्म जो पहले कभी लिखी न गई।
Thank you, Gauhar, for coming here and talking to us. And let me put it this way, that all of us who believe in what the media should be, all of us who believe what the country should be, will be with you on this issue and will keep on fighting with you. Thank you very much.
I'm very thankful to you, and I'm thankful to all those large number of people from within the country and from across 29 countries who have supported me and who have supported the cause.
Thank you, Gauhar. This is all the time we have in Newsclick today. Keep watching Newsclick.